local question about the riding, in particular Saanich Gulf Islands, and it relates to the demographics and the land use pattern here and some of the economic issues that the region faces, including the high land values and the lack of demographic diversity. It seems like the riding is becoming somewhat of a retirement area. So how would the green shift seek to provide sustainable livelihoods for young families, and particularly, Briony, what are some of your points of vision about how you could keep young people in your riding?
So these issues are not only central to my heart, but that's what I'm hearing at the door everywhere. And it's an issue that's concerned me for years, and I've been involved in it at the local level. I've worked with a variety of nonprofits to come up with various solutions to affordable housing, co-ops for agricultural leases, ways of securing land that we can keep young farmers farming. How do we keep the skills alive? How do we generate a diversity of meaningful work on the peninsula and keep, an economy buoyant and attractive to a young population, and something they are able to do? And so, to me, the Green Shift actually offers an extraordinary opportunity, because essentially what it's doing is putting the constraints on industries that don't do a very good job of conserving, and unleashing the ingenuity, which is, we're going to look at the youth of today. These are the kids and these are the ideas. They're essentially being given a different playing field. Necessity is the mother of invention. And because fossil fuels is such a critical component of globalization, instead of us relying on, going to our big box stores to get our cheap products, if the green shift is putting a price on the importation of goods and the increased carbon footprint of goods, then it gives our local kids an advantage. I mean, to me, it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm just looking at the huge growth in the agritourism industry, for example. I was just at a food forum, just came from there. There's a whole new group of young people that are making money in farming. And it's a kind of real innovative blend of farming and tourism and artisan. In fact, just David Woods, who just left, he's one of the biggest rock stars on Salt Spring, because he's a cheese maker. I mean, he's in the Globe and Mail every 5 minutes, and he's doing a really great job, and both his sons are employed. And in fact, he's one of the biggest employers on our island. And that, to me, is okay. The green shift is really going to benefit his business, because he's not going to be paying for any carbon on the production and distribution of cheese, because, and this is where I want the green shift to go even further, and certainly Dion's talked about it. If we're putting on a carbon tax for all the cheeses being imported in from China, it makes his product damn competitive. And if he's being given credits and incentives, etc., to expand his business and be able to furnish even more people with cheese at reasonable prices, then we've got some great cottage industries emerging, and that's just one example.
It's out of a raw material. Now that raw material has to be goat's milk or cow's milk. And rumor has it the only abattoir on Salt Spring got shut down by the government?
Exactly, yeah.
And it relates also to health care. And the issue you brought up earlier, I believe it was Mr. Ignatius, about immigrants, and yet how many doctors have we got that have immigrated that can't practice?
Yeah. Well, that's why you want me to go to Ottawa, because I can connect the dots, and I'm going to argue the toss about why chickens, NAFTA, oil, jobs, affordable housing, all of that stuff is all connected, and it all relies, and again, I go back to this green shift. I know, again, what it is, it's just a mechanism for making all these things make sense. It's just creating the environment in which all these things begin to be coherent, because we've been living in an incoherent world for quite a while. I mean, globalization has sent us too far down the line, and it's had health impacts, it's had, you know, the lack of security impacts. By putting a price on carbon, we're bringing a little bit of coherence back into the equation. And Mr. Dion refuses to divide or pit the environment against the economy, or pit those two things against social justice. I just want to add that I was so desperate for childcare that in our community luckily we had a school that had a little spot in the forest, and we built a daycare with sweat equity and the goodness of all the community. But not every community is Salt Spring. And so I've been pretty much hot on the daycare issue, and when I met Ken Dryden, not only did I get a hockey shirt with his name on it, and I'd never even seen, I never even watched a hockey game, but I still love Ken Dryden. And I have never met a more gentle, committed person to the issue of daycare. A hockey player fighting, making his life work to see this issue resolved. And I tell you, that's what I love about Canada, when the hockey players are fighting for the children.